Sonia Lopez, Energy Leadership Manifestation Coach. I help heart-centered leaders and entrepreneurs create soul-aligned success in life and in business. If you're coming on, say hello. Today, I'm going to be just sharing a little story about something that's been coming up a lot in my world with clients and even with myself about, is the universe testing us? And so some people in the manifesting world do call it testing. Like, it feels like you're being tested with life coming at you from all different directions, maybe. I don't love the word test because it just has like a negative connotation. But again, it's, up to you how you want to perceive what is happening in your life. So when we set about creating our life intentionally and wanting to manifest something in particular, what really is happening is you are expanding your consciousness. So you are going from your current, state of being, your self-perception, to a higher level of consciousness. New beliefs, new perceptions, and new conditionings have to take place because, as you all hear me talk about all the time, we don't manifest from the conscious mind, we manifest from the subconscious mind. So some shifts do have to take place in our inner landscape in order for us to project higher resonating energy out into the world to attract our manifestations and to also feel empowered to take inspired action towards our desires, right? So oftentimes what happens, and I'm going to share a story about how it happened to me recently with money. Often what happens is as we're expanding and growing our belief system, our perceptions, and our conditioning, our nervous system also needs to expand because, like you heard me talk about in my masterclass, if you're wanting something that you don't already have, chances are that you're here, the desire is here. This is a lot faster frequencies. And in order for you to be able to be open to receive it and hold it, more importantly, hold the manifestation, it requires our nervous system to be expanded in order to be able to hold those faster frequencies. So as we're doing this work to grow and expand and become more magnetic, what can happen is that when things in life that maybe aren't like what we perceive to be positive or high vibe happen, we have greater awareness around it. And we start to question, like, well, I've been doing the work and to be positive and to get into alignment with my desire, but why is this happening, right? So I had something happen in my own life about 4 months ago as I personally was working to expand my capacity to receive and hold money, because I realized that that was an area in my life where there was opportunity for growth. So I started to do the conscious work around this. And sure enough, I started to see flow occur. And I started to see, money coming in and being able to hold a higher threshold, because again, we all have a threshold of receiving and holding. So as I was noticing that expansion in my life, what happened was this big test came through that really was like scary. So we had invested in some. Speaking of the universe testing, we had made an investment for something that it wasn't tremendous, but it was close to $2,000. And we paid for something and we were waiting for the thing to come, and it didn't. And I started to panic, right? So that's when you start to notice, like, am I falling back to my old self, my old consciousness, right? And that's what the test is really all about. So in this case, is my nervous system regulated? Am I falling back to, what I call victim consciousness, right? Which is stage 1 of manifestation. Am I falling back to poor me? Why is this happening? And for everybody, it's different. For me, in this case, it was like, oh my God, we're going to lose money. Like, I need to get into like reactive mode and fix this, right? But so what happened in this case was that I didn't. I did have the initial feeling of that old, like how I would have reacted in the old days, in the old consciousness. And I caught myself. So number one is awareness, like understanding, is this really a test or is this just an opportunity for me to understand, am I going to fall back to the old ways of being, or am I going to really hold the higher level of consciousness, right? So in this case, like I said, I felt a little bit like triggered by what was happening. And by the way, oftentimes tests can feel like triggers. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do about it? So I did take some inspired action to rectify the situation, but I truly was more anchored into the frequency of faith and trust, which is really what is required for us to hold when a test is coming through. Is, can you really anchor into the knowing of your higher self that this is going to be resolved, right? And part of the resolution could be, taking inspired action or whatever needs to happen, but not from the triggered state, not from the lower consciousness. So I did take inspired action. We did all the things on the back end to rectify the situation. And then I let it go, because that really was like the core of this test for me was, can I truly trust that this is going to work out in my favor? Because normally my pattern is I have to get into fix it mode and I have to force manifest the outcome that I want. That was my old pattern. And so this test came through to teach me, what is the new self-perception pattern that you're going to have moving forward when life rattles you, right? Especially with money. Money is a big like sore spot for me with regards to patterns, right? For somebody else, it might be health, it might be relationships. It depends on what is going on in your subconscious. So the test is really not like the universe is being a jerk to you. It's really a matter of life happens, right? It's not all about rainbows and butterflies. And are you going to fall back and drop back into the old ways of being and showing up? And are you going to are those old patterns going to resurface? And are you going to be the old consciousness? Or are you going to recognize that the old pattern is coming up and then choose consciously how you want to show up? So something I heard recently that was really cool and kind of drove this point home for me was, because I know a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, want to manifest money, is this. If you, let's say this year you want to make $1 million and your self-perception is going to be that person that can create and hold $1 million, right? How does that person show up? What are the qualities of that person? And then when the test comes in, and it probably might be a big one, remembering that it's not really a test per se, but rather an opportunity for you to choose the consciousness and the new self-perception, but like at an embodied level. This is really when these challenges come through, is really the opportunity for us to truly anchor into the embodiment part of it, because manifesting has different steps. The conscious mind is the awareness. Then we start to clean up the subconscious. And then, you have become that new level of consciousness, that new frequency resonating out when you're fully embodied in the new beliefs, perceptions, and conditioning, the new level of consciousness. So tests, you can call them tests. I like to call them opportunities for expansion and for anchoring into that new level of growth that I've reached. You can call them tests, but the universe is not being a jerk. It's simply an opportunity for you to decide. who am I going to show up as in this situation that really feels like it wants to like rock me? Okay, so remember that. Contemplate the questions as these tests come up. You're allowed to have your reaction and then decide. Take a step back, right? Take a step back, have the reaction, feel the feelings, and take a step back and contemplate, how do I want to show up in the face of this challenge or of this test? I hope this helps. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comments section, and I always look at those and get back to you. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care.